Hey everybody, it's Naz, and I haven't uploaded a video in the past few days. I've just been really busy with schoolwork, but I have still been doing the drawings as I promised. So this is the drawing we're about to see in the video, but let me just flip back to a few days before where we left off in the last video. Okay, so this was the last video, which was teaming. I haven't put it up yet because I haven't had the chance to edit it, but yep. So you may or may not have seen this, and then there was no video for this one. The thing was juicy, and it's just kind of like an orange juicing machine. So there's a conveyor belt over here, and it just moves the oranges down, and it compacts them, and then the pipes lead them into the orange juice. Yeah, it was a bit random, but it was fun. This one was blind, which I like because it was simple yet kind of unsettling, I guess. And I really liked the bit of the texture as well. This was Ship, which was quite an interesting idea, I guess. Actually, one of my friends suggested it to me. Well, actually, she suggested it as a joke, but I actually used it. So it's a submarine, but it's shaped like a mermaid. So I guess it sort of reminds me of those like Viking ships where they have like a mermaid carved in the front of the boat, except the whole submarine is a mermaid, and there's these tentacles around it as well. And this one is for Squeak, and quite obviously it's a steampunk rat, and this is probably one of the most intricate ones of the drawings I've done so far. It's inspired by this artist whose name I don't remember. Great. But yeah, so those are the drawings I've done in the past few days. Now on to the video. Alright, we're back for the actual video, and it's a Friday and I'm ready to just relax and doing some drawings, so that's great. Today's theme was climb, and I was kind of at a loss for an original idea, so I just did the most obvious one, which was having a robot climbing. So I had it climbing up a rope instead of like a mountain or a ladder or other climbable objects. Actually, I didn't like this one that much. I liked the rope, but the robot itself, I used the hatching shading thing, which I've been doing a lot, and it didn't work as well as it does for other artworks. But I did a really nice patterned background, and that worked well. So I guess that's one good thing. So yeah, I mean, I feel like me explaining it would be kind of pointing out the obvious, but it's just, yeah. So the rope, I kind of just did like these curving lines, and it looks kind of like a braid, I guess. And then later on, I just did these little lines to segment it into individual hairs, and I think it really worked. I don't know where I'm going to use rope again in my drawings, and oh gosh, my head is going under the video. I wasn't expecting that, but oh well. So I must have been looking down a lot while I was drawing, so apologies for that. And then I had it fraying at the end, which also looked interesting. So I mean, I'm just going to talk about the rope because it was my favorite part of the entire drawing. So for the robot itself, I guess the blocky shapes are kind of a bit, like, they look really great from front on, but then they're a bit awkward to draw from the kind of three-quarter view. And also another thing that didn't work so well is the rope, and the angle of the rope indicates that it's swaying from the left side of the page to the right side, but then the way that the thingy on top of the head is moving indicates that's going the opposite direction. So that's a bit illogical, but just pretend you didn't see that. But also the other part which was a bit awkward about the robot, my general robot design has quite long arms and quite short legs, but because it was clinging onto the rope, that didn't work so well, so I lengthened out the legs a bit. So that also, I mean, it didn't exactly look bad, it just changed it in a different way that I wasn't quite used to. But the main reason why the robot didn't work so well was that hatching thing, which I've been using to shade a lot. I used it again this time and it didn't work. I mean, which is fair enough, you can't rely on one shading technique all the time. But I think it's probably just because it's a bit smaller, so if you use the shading kind of like I mean, the time the prompt was like fat, I used the shading quite sparingly just around the edges, and I didn't like blow it up or anything. But here, compared to the size of the robot, the shading was like quite big, so you could see the individual lines quite clearly, and I think that kind of was a bit distracting, so I kind of just covered up with some more cross hatching, and it ended up looking okay, but I wasn't that happy with it. Like, the values are kind of a bit washed out. Another thing which I liked about the artwork, which you can see me doing now, is I'm just putting a thick outline around the robot, and later on I'm going to add in some patterns, so it'll be mostly kind of circles, and that's because I'm working on an assignment in visual art at the moment, and it's actually really fun. We've all got like A2 pieces of paper, and we have to do a layered landscape, and someone was using bubble wrap to texture theirs, and I remember using bubble wrap as texturing when I was at art class, but I mean, I never really noticed it, but then it actually looked really good, and I realized that I really like that sort of circle texture. It's not even the circles, it's just I think that like the spaces around the circles look really interesting. So I incorporated that into this design, and I think it was really interesting. Like, the circular patterns kind of contrast against the really blocky robots in a really interesting way. And I mean, it was a fun experiment because I've been doing patterns a lot recently, but I haven't been doing very much in the background, so yeah, it's a cool thing to try. I've also been experimenting with some geometric patterns because I've seen some really nice artists who do patterns on like animals and stuff, but because I do steampunk, right, the same patterns won't really look as good. So I've been trying to find some geometric patterns which will look good on like gears and stuff like that. So maybe I can use this in that sort of situation as well. But until then, I think this is the end of the video, so thanks very much for watching. If you want to see more of my stuff, you can go onto my DeviantArt. So tomorrow's prompt will be fall, and I will be recording a video tomorrow, so see you then.